Douglas Cooling and Heating, serving the Birmingham area for 38 years. 988-3706. That's Douglas.
This is the Weather Xtreme video for Saturday, September the 10th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters, and it looks like the wonderful weather continues, but with a slight warming trend. There's a look at the Birmingham Skycam as we see a beautiful, clear sunrise this morning. Clear sunrise at Cheehaw, but we're looking off to the west, out over the valley there, and the corner of the restaurant in the picture. Certainly a beautiful morning. And then at Fayette, the sun lighting the courthouse over there. No big weather systems with general high pressure over the southeastern U.S. We still have a little bit of clouds over the Ohio River Valley. And of course we have Nate down there in the lower part of the picture, but Nate now moving very slowly towards the Mexican coastline over there. In the upper atmosphere, we're dealing with a bit of a closed low, but with no moisture to speak of. The low is not doing much in the way of creating any problems or any significant rainfall, and it looks like we'll be dealing with that for a couple more days, but the flow expected to go fairly zonal. As a result of all of this with Lee and the cooler air, our morning temperatures certainly back to beautiful values, although these will be increasing slightly over the next few days as we head into the 60s for morning lows. This morning across central Alabama, we range from about 52 up around Gadsden and Fort Payne to about 57 at Montgomery. So a beautiful, beautiful, cool morning to start the day. QPF forecast for the next 5 days pretty much tells the story. Much of the rain being held off to the north, and we'll stay in a somewhat zonal flow towards the end of the week, making any chances for rain pretty small. And of course, we've got on the edge of the picture there, the right edge of the picture, we've got the rainfall expected from Maria. Storm Prediction Center not outlooking any specific area for a slight risk, but they do have a couple of sea texts out over the southwestern part of the United States. Tropics are still pretty active. We've got Katia, Maria, and Nate. We're going to skip Katia. She's way up there and headed out into the North Atlantic, so forget that one. How about Maria? Maria not looking too good. Very broad and just having trouble getting its act together. The track expected to keep Maria just to the north of Puerto Rico, and then as it gets out into the warm Atlantic there to the east of the Bahamas, it will become a hurricane and skirt around Bermuda, so it looks like it's not going to be a threat to any landmass. Nate looking pretty good with a lot of convection around the storm on the satellite imagery anyway, and forecast very slow to continue as a tropical storm, and a slight increase, but not likely to reach hurricane intensity before coming ashore on the Mexican coast. So now let's take a look at the 06Z GFS model run, and of course we can see Nate down there at the bottom center of your picture, but the big upper air feature is the closed low over the Ohio River Valley in the central U.S., but again, without much moisture, we're not getting much in the way of precipitation as a result of that closed low. The closed low opens up on the 11th, Sunday, and so that means that its influence will be reduced somewhat, which is going to allow us to warm up. By Monday, the 12th, we see that open trough now is moving off to the southeast coast. Here comes Maria, but again expected to recurve. There's Maria recurving up into the western Atlantic, away from the Bahamas and away from the U.S. We stay under a slight northwesterly flow, so while we will be warming slightly, it's not going to be just a rapid rise. The flow goes somewhat zonal. We got trough over the southwest U.S., but by the 14th, the flow has gone pretty zonal for us, so not a lot in the way of weather systems to deal with. We stay pretty zonal. There goes Maria now, turning away from the U.S. on on a track that should take it out into the Atlantic and away from the country. And by the 16th, Maria very much absorbed in the flow, and we stay pretty much zonal. No big changes. That continues into the 17th, where we're not seeing much in the way of anything, and very little chances for rain, although as moisture does increase slightly, I do expect that by the end of the week we'll see some small chances for rain, 20-30%. So probably widely scattered at the best. By the long range, we see some pretty big changes. Look at that closed low over the western Great Lakes. Wow. And that could bring a pretty good cold front, which we're getting to that time of year where we ought to be seeing some pretty good cold fronts. That ought to bring some much cooler air. This is the 22nd of September. And then when we get out at the very end of the period, around the 25th, we see that closed low is still with us over Canada, with a good trough over the eastern half of the country, ridge over to the west. So, at least the possibility that we will cool down a little bit as we head towards the end of September. Well, thanks for tuning into the Weather Xtreme video. Expect to have the next one posted by 8 o'clock or so tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful day, and Godspeed.
Each day there are new stories to tell about the people who live here and the place we call home.
All of the faces that I see, all of the places close to me, they're all part of all the best things about home.
Sharing your stories on ABC 3340, Alabama's news leader.